Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today's the day where we're finally going to talk about my personal top 10 favorite films of 2016. These are films that I've seen that I absolutely loved throughout the course of the 2016 film year. These are the films that I really feel are the 10 films that I've personally seen within the 2016 film year that I feel really display kind of the strength of the cinema art form, what it means to me for films that I feel are the best within its craft within that 2016 year. These are just personal picks for me that I really feel really show true craftsmanship and true originality and true execution of a film production. So let's go over these 10 films I personally feel are the best of 2016. Like a lot of top 10 lists you might see here on YouTube, number 10 is going to be the weakest on the list, and as we work our way up into the number one spot, those are films I feel even stronger about as we go into the list even further. So let's start at number 10, which is The Nice Guys. I thought this was a very strong movie by Shane Black. Unfortunately, not a lot of people went to go see it, and that's too bad because I really feel like this film very much is in the spirit of a 1980s movie, very much in the spirit of like Lethal Weapon and like the Dirty Harry films and so forth, like those older cop films that just knew how to have fun with itself, knew how to handle an action scene very well, knew how to get campy when appropriate, and have very interesting characters to follow over the course of the movie. At number 9, we have the new Disney Pixar film Finding Dory. I was very excited for this film, and rightfully so. This is a great follow up to the original Finding Nemo movie from Pixar. I thought the choice of focusing on Dory was very appropriate for this movie. We have tons of new and interesting characters to follow around in this movie, like Hank the Octopus and the two whale characters that we see in the movie and so forth. Just a great follow up to Finding Nemo. A lot of fun, very much in that spirit of the first movie. I liked how it wasn't super different from the first one. I liked how they definitely found a new story but made it very much in the same spirit of the first movie. It kind of makes us feel more comfortable as a viewer because we had so much fun with that first movie. It's great to see a follow up story that is different, but very much is in that spirit of the first movie. So Pixar did a great job with this movie. Huge thumbs up for me. Finding Dory's number 9 on my list. At number 8, we have the new Justin Lin film, which was Star Trek Beyond. J.J. Abrams was busy working on Star Wars The Force Awakens before, Star Trek Beyond went into production and so forth. So he was busy with Star Wars, so he couldn't do the new Star Trek movie. And they got Justin Lin from Fast Five to direct it, which I thought was a great choice. Justin Lin definitely added a more action movie side to Star Trek, which I liked a lot. Definitely everything I liked about Star Trek Into Darkness, about following the characters, learning more about them, learning how the Starfleet, adventure within space is teaching them new things and so forth. And I like the whole being stuck on the lost planet angle that they had in this movie. I thought that was very interesting and fun, kind of in the spirit of a Star Trek episode, which I liked a lot about it. And I definitely loved how this film is acknowledging that those earlier Star Trek films with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy have still happened. This is something that's happening way into the future, that those are potentially the great great grandparents of these characters that are, the new Captain Kirk and new Spock and so forth. So I like how this film, it not only is it a celebration of the new Star Trek films, it's a celebration of the old ones. And I think that's something that's very respectful and very interesting, is that it's continuing a great new Star Trek journey that's also acknowledging, hey, that's cool if you want to accept that those earlier films happened. These new films aren't erasing anything. This is just a Star Trek adventure that happens even further into the future, and we hope you have fun, and I certainly did. So Star Trek Beyond is at my number 8 spot on my list. At number 7, we have a film I actually recently saw that I really liked a lot, which was The Founder. Great movie, great screenplay. Michael Keaton gave a great performance as Ray Kroc. I liked how they talked about, what people are looking for in a burger business and so forth. It's just everything I felt like I needed to know about Ray Kroc and his journey, and kind of how he kind of did steal the idea, but he added further success to the McDonald business that is very important to acknowledge. And the founder has, angles on all those things. The characters are well developed. John Lee Hancock, who also directed The Blind Side, which I enjoyed a lot too, did a great job handling this film biopic as well. So The Founder is at number 7 on my list. At number 6, we have Pete's Dragon. At first I was kind of hesitant about this movie. At first I almost didn't even see this movie, but then I gave this film a chance. The trailers really intrigued me, and rightfully so. Peach Dragon is such an interesting and fascinating journey into a forest where a dragon happens to live there. And I liked the urban myth side of this movie. I liked how people have kind of sort of seen this dragon over the years. They're not completely 100% sure, but the reveal of this kid living in this forest and living with this dragon who's teaching him how to survive in the forest and everything. And the film really just encourages us to just stand back and enjoy this fascinating creature that happens to live in the forest. And even though we don't completely understand where he is or where he came from, just kind of stand back and be fascinated at what nature and what God has put upon the world, and just really enjoy the fantastic. I think is really what the film is trying to say, and that's really not only a great message, but the CGI and the visual effects and the story and the human side of the story of Peach Dragon are all handled extremely well. Incredible CGI was used in this movie specifically for the dragon. You would swear you're watching a real dragon in this movie. It's just that incredibly done. So Peach Dragon, it makes it at number 6 on my list. At number 5, we have a film that I'm sure everybody else is going to have on their top 10 list as well, which was Deadpool. Very fun, very naughty in the right ways. Ryan Reynolds is definitely the perfect choice for Deadpool. He definitely has a passion for that character. Very fun screenplay, very fun narrative. I think definitely making an R-rated Deadpool movie was the right way to go. They were able to handle the dirty jokes and the dirty action, all that stuff very, very well. And I like how the film's kind of it acknowledges what the movie is, that it's very hardcore, it's very in your face. That if you're taking somebody as a date to this movie, well, you kind of chose the wrong movie. Like the film even acknowledges that at one point. So Deadpool is just incredibly fun. It knows how to handle a comic book film adaptation very well. Unfortunately, Tim Miller is not going to come back for the sequel, but the Deadpool film that he's already made here was incredibly made. So Deadpool makes it at number 5 on my list. At number 4, we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I love J.K. Rowling. I love the Harry Potter films and the Harry Potter books. And her continuation and spin off, which is a little bit of both for this movie, I thought was handled extremely well. I'm still very much invested within that Harry Potter universe. Newt Scamander is a very interesting character. I liked all the new creatures I was introduced to. The visual effects were absolutely top notch. Very intriguing, very interesting. It's one of those films where I was just so invested from the very beginning to the very end, that you almost kind of forget that it's as long as it is. 'Cause I think it was almost about 2.5 hours long, and that time just flew on by for me in the theater. I was just very invested in the characters and the story and the visuals, and how that Harry Potter story was going to be continued even further and so forth. Huge thumbs up for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. J.K. Rowling is back, and she is better than ever. At number 3, we have Doctor Strange from Marvel. What I loved about this film, and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of other Marvel films as well, but what made Doctor Strange so intriguing to me is just how original it was. Just how sometimes when the human body needs to heal from something very tragic, sometimes it's kind of a mental process. It's not exactly a physical process, something that you need to be in a hospital for. It truly is sometimes a mental process. And I also like how the film's very philosophical. It's teaching us to follow the middle way. It's teaching us to, if we really want to learn about time and space, to kind of just leave everything at the door and just really take it in from these, masters and mentors and so forth, of how time and all that other kind of fun stuff works. So it's just a very original film that really just knew how to have fun and also teach us a very interesting philosophical lesson as the film progressed. Doctor Strange is at number 3 on my list. At number 2, we have Zootopia. I absolutely loved this movie. I liked how it teaches us not to stereotype people, not to stereotype animals, not to stereotype things in general. And it's a very intriguing and character investing story where I was invested in both Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps the whole time. And that's saying a lot because, this film came all the way out back in March of 2016. And I still remember how these characters work and function and their kind of own little rule book and so forth. And that's really saying a lot. That really goes to show how memorable the film is. I just loved how these characters were so three-dimensional and that we could really get behind them, even if they don't make the greatest choices all the time. Nick Wilde himself is such a very, he's definitely been through a lot over the course of his life. So it's very interesting to see how he views things and so forth. And then Judy Hopps, who had to work from the ground up, or nobody believed she could be this police officer, proves everybody wrong. and I was invested from beginning to end with Zootopia. It's just visually well done. The messages are very well handled. It's a very funny film too. You know, I mean, come on, that DMV scene with Flash the Sloth. That is just you got to be a true adult living in the real world and really understanding how the real world works in order to really get a very funny joke like that. And Zootopia is just so clever and so fun. It's at number 2 on my list. And at number 1, for those who remember my movie review for this film, you know I absolutely love this movie, and that's still very much the case by the time 2016 is said and done, and going into 2017 now, and that is La La Land. La La Land is just one of those films that I really kind of have to dig deep in it to find a flaw in it because it's just so well handled and so well crafted, and the musical numbers are just so fun and intriguing, and it's just such a celebration of the film art form. And I think that's what I love so much about it is it's teaching us if we have a passion, pursue the passion the best you can. If you love music, keep continuing to love music. It's an art form that's always evolving, always finding a way to be new. That it's going back to the jazz genre, whatever it can, to go back and find a way to reconstruct things within that music genre and within the music art form. And I just loved Emma Stone's character and Ryan Gosling's character, and it's just a film where I'm just invested from beginning to end. The characters are fun, the musical numbers are great, and I'm really not somebody that really goes after musicals that much. This film kind of is encouraging me to go after musicals more. It really is a great, investing, intriguing movie that really moved me a lot. And I actually even already have the soundtrack for this movie just to show how much I love the soundtrack of this movie as well. Damien Chazelle, I think, is going to be an incredible filmmaker. I think he's working on a Neil Armstrong movie right now, which, after seeing La La Land, I'm sure is going to be fantastic. Damien Chazelle is definitely a director to look forward to more here in the future. He really seems to know how to direct a movie, especially after I saw La La Land. So I hope you guys enjoyed my list. That was my personal top 10 list for 2016. At some point before or after this video, I'm going to have a number 11 list of films that I really enjoyed in 2016 that didn't quite make this top 10 list. And I'm also soon going to have a top 5 worst of the year list, which unfortunately 2016 had a couple films to mention for that kind of thing. A lot of bad ones that I really didn't care for that much that came out in 2016, so be on the look for that soon too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see the list again without having to rewatch the video, I am going to post this list down below here. And if you're watching this on my Facebook page, I'm probably going to post the list for this at some point shortly after I post this video in case you don't want to watch this video and so forth. So let me know down below what's of some films that you guys enjoyed in 2016. Let's hope 2017 has some great films coming out soon for us. And I'll see you guys here next year for another top 10 best of the year list.